Hi YouTube, this is Julian Bradley. Today I'm going to talk about ear training. So I've got some advice which will speed up the process. First of all, you need to get in the habit of listening to music in a different way. Every piece of music you hear, you need to be thinking, what are the intervals? Whether it's a track on the radio in a club, someone's phone going off, a police siren going by, a bird singing. You want to be thinking, okay, what is that interval? What are those notes? Second of all, my advice is when you're starting out to try and stick to one key and to work them out in that key. Doing that will make you realise a lot quicker that they're the same notes that are coming up in the same chords. Especially in pop music, it's the same four chords which come up over and over again and the same pentatonic scale. It's really good practice. It's the best practice you can do is to try and work out pop songs by ear. Pop songs are great because they're the right sort of level for a beginner, and there are only four chords really most of the time that are used over and over again, and the same pentatonic scale most of the time. To give you an example of some pop songs that I used to work out, especially when I was sort of 16 to 18, I did this a lot and it was great practice. Okay, so the first step is to work out the melody by ear. The way I recommend you do this is not to have the track playing and to just try out notes until you find the ones that you can hear. That is better than nothing, but the better way to do it is to listen to the track several times until you can sing the melody in your head at least, and then to sit at the piano and try and find out what the notes are. So what you'll find is as you work out songs by ear, you start to build up a memory bank of different sounds, so different intervals, different chords, which you can refer to when you're working out new songs. So you might hear the interval which is in the Batman Begins soundtrack, and that will tell you that that's a minor third. You might hear a tritone, which will remind you of West Side Story and a lot of the songs in West Side Story which use a tritone, for example the song Maria. You could use a well-known song by Usher to remember the perfect fifth and the minor sixth. Or you might hear an octave and recognise that from Over the Rainbow. If you hear minor second, that might remind you of songs like Deeper Underground by Jamiroquai or Candy Shop by 50 Cent. So what you'll find is as you work out tunes by ear, very quickly you'll you'll develop a memory bank of these different sounds which you can draw upon when you're working out future songs. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is learn by heart the series of intervals which are found in the minor scale and the major scale. I've drawn it out here for you. So notice how all the intervals are whole steps apart from two intervals which are half steps. So in the minor mode, you've got the second to the third scale degree are a half step, and the fifth to the sixth scale degree is also a half step. So in C minor, that's D to E flat and G to A flat. And then in the major scale, it's the same notes, but they're actually scale degree 3 and 4 and 7 and 1. So you can use these half-step intervals to locate the melody within the scale. It will allow you to understand what scale degrees you're actually playing, rather than just playing the correct melody notes but not actually understanding where they fit within the scale. So it's important that you learn this by heart, because you need to know what key you're in and what scale you're in if you're going to put the right chords to it. Okay, so let's look at the four most common chords in popular music. If we stick within our scale of E flat major and C minor, then the four chords are E flat major, A flat major, B flat major and C minor. Now the way to think of these chords is 1, 4 and 5 within the E flat major. So the 1 chord is E flat major, A flat major is the 4 chord and B flat major is the 5 chord. And then the relative minor of E flat major is C minor, which is the 6th degree of the E flat major scale. Now about 90% of pop songs, especially the ones that are being produced today, seem to use just these four chords and not really anything else. There are exceptions to this, of course, and if you find a song that seems to be using chords other than these four, the next chords I suggest you try are F minor and G minor within the scale of C minor and E flat major. An F minor chord fulfills the same function as an A flat major chord, except it has a minor sound, and the same with the G minor, which fulfills the same function as a B flat major chord, but with a minor sound. Okay, so with that said, look at how simple the chord structures are for pop music. We basically have three major chords, E flat major, A flat major and B flat major, and then we have three minor chords which are just relative minors of those three major chords. So C minor is a relative minor of E flat major, F minor is the relative minor of A flat major, and G minor is the relative minor of B flat major. Also notice that F minor and G minor are chords 4 and 5 of C minor. So really our six chords are just 1, 4 and 5 of the major scale and 1, 4 and 5 of the relative minor scale. And it's really that easy, and if you work within the same key consistently, you will spot that very quickly. Once you have identified the important notes in the melody, by that I mean the strongest notes which sound resolved as they are, start scanning the four pop chords for that melody note. Some notes you'll be able to find in multiple chords like C, G and E flat. E flat, for example, you can find in an A flat major chord, a C minor chord and the E flat major chord. Other notes will only appear in one of the chords, making your choice easier. For example, notes D and F can only be found in the B flat major chord, and A flat can only be found in the A flat major chord. Between them, the four pop chords cover all 7 notes of the scale, meaning that every note of the scale has a choice of at least one chord. When you're trying to work out what chord you're hearing, you can also listen to the bass line, because in pop music the bass line nearly always plays the root of the chord. So let's take Rihanna, Umbrella. Got the melody down, it's pretty simple. Okay, so it's just really 2 notes for those first 2 bars, and it's an E flat and a C. So what chords would that go with? Well, you could have C minor, but that sounds already resolved, and that's not how the actual song sounds. So let's try our second chord. They're also in A flat major, and that sounds right. Okay, and then what happens next? Then we just have an E flat. That could be C minor again. That's not quite right. It's almost there. It's actually the next chord though, which is the E flat major. Okay, so our next main note in the third chord is a D. Now that will only fit with a B flat, so let's try that. B flat major chord. Yeah, we're spot on. And then the main note in the last bar is a C, and I'm going to go with C minor as my first choice because we've already had A flat and E flat and B flat, so it's likely that they're going to use a new chord rather than just one that we've already played. And there we have it. This is Julian Bradley. Check out my other videos on jazz, harmony. Post any questions you have below the video and I'll get back to you. See you soon. Bye.